Wild Card Weekend starts on Saturday, and what we've done every Friday all season long, our draft of the folks under the most pressure in the weekend to come. 4 games, 8 teams, and the trivia question determines who gets the first pick. Big Cat, the Houston Texans have won 3 playoff games in their history, each with a different starting quarterback. Name 2 of those 3 starting quarterbacks.
Matt Schaub, TJ Yates.
You want to go for the trifecta?
Deshaun Watson not won one yet?
Come on. No. Brock Osweiler, baby. Brock Lobster.
Oh, yeah, against the Raiders. Connor Cook, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
That was listen, all these Texans games just, go together. It's just one long memory. TJ Yates a hell, though. You never forget that guy.
Remember the game when they got blown out by the Chiefs, and didn't J.J. Watt take a snap at quarterback at one point? Remember that a couple of years ago?
Yes,
right.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I'm going to let you
get
start.
the first pick.
No, I'm going to let you
start. No, you get the first pick.
No, you go.
You're deferring?
I won. Yeah, I won. Yeah.
You kick? You choose to kick?
Yeah,
you choose to kick.
I defer.
All right. You choose to kick. I'm just doing a little Walt Anderson. I'm going to start with... All
right, I'll start with...
Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
All right. I'm going to... This one is not obvious, but who's under pressure in a playoff game, right? The underdog or the favorite? Who's got more pressure? The favorite's under pressure to go in there and do what they're supposed to do, right? Drew Brees has been phenomenal. Drew Brees turns 41 on January 15th, I believe. The last 2 times Drew Brees has faced Mike Zimmer in the Vikings defense, he has not been spectacular. 120 yards passing on a Sunday night in 2018. The Saints won the game. And he had 2 interceptions, in the playoff loss, the Minneapolis Miracle. They were down 17 points. They came roaring back and took the lead late and put the Vikings in position to need the miracle. But the Vikings had a big lead in that game and failed to put the Saints away. Drew Brees has not been Drew Brees against the Vikings the last 2 times he's played them. They're 7.5-point favorites. This could be Drew Brees' last game as a member of the Saints, last home game as a member of the Saints. We don't know what he's going to do next year. We don't know what the Saints are going to want to do next year. There have been some concerns about his arm strength. His statistics this year, his passer rating, highest of his career, but he's been sub-90 his last 2 times against the Vikings. There is pressure on him to come out and play like he did that night against the Colts. I mean, not that he's going to be 29 or 30, but he needs to be closer to that. You don't want to give the Vikings an opening if you're Drew Brees. And if Drew Brees plays the way he did the last 2 times against the Vikings, there's a chance there's going to be a little bit of an opening for Kirk Cousins to fail to take advantage of.
Okay. That's a good pick. Not what I would have gone with, but a good pick. I will start, Mike, with a great pick, and that is Brian Schottenheimer and Pete Carroll. They are under a lot of pressure on Sunday because last year, the wild card round, they go to Dallas in a game they should have won, where they tried to establish the run over and over and over again when they have the potential MVP. He's probably not going to be the MVP, but he's in the running. Russell Wilson, one of the most dynamic playmakers in the NFL, and they took the ball out of his hands. Will that happen again? Because you know that the Seahawks want to establish the run. I actually joked that when Rashad Penny and Chris Carson got hurt and out for the year, it was actually a positive for the Seahawks because it almost forces their offensive philosophy to run through Russell Wilson instead of the run game. So this will be the test, because if they do this again, if they have another playoff game where they don't let their best player, one of the best players in all of football, which I know you don't agree with because you think he's no one talks about him enough, this will be the pressure test. So I'm saying Brian Schottenheimer and Pete Carroll under pressure on Sunday at the Link.
Well, and look at the unforced error on Sunday night when they tried to get Marshawn Lynch out onto the field for that 1st and goal from the 1, and they didn't know what was going on, and they did personnel groupings, and they're actually practicing that this week. You would think that teams have all of that mastered by now. The fact that the clock is running, the play clock is running, and you got to get your guys out onto the field. I mean, it happens so seamlessly all the time that when it doesn't happen, it's glaring. But, and I feel like that ghost of Marshawn Lynch at the goal line from 5 years ago is still lingering. That's the one drawback to bringing back Marshawn Lynch. And they get opportunities down near the 1. We'll see what they do. But they better be buttoned up. And you're right, that playoff game last year, inexcusable. The Seahawks should have won that game. They should have had a rematch with the Rams. And they didn't rely on Russell Wilson. And now and they built the team around Russell Wilson.
Right.
They need to rely on Russell Wilson. I agree with you. That's a good pick.
Thank you.
All right, next round for me, Patriots cornerback Stephon Gilmore, guy that I would have made our defensive player of the year if he hadn't been shredded by Devontae Parker and the Dolphins on Sunday in a game that would have given the Patriots a pass this weekend. He is either going to be covering A.J. Brown, man up all game, or they're going to double Brown and they'll have Stephon Gilmore on Corey Davis. Either way, whatever happened last week, Mike Vrabel's smart enough to play that film back and look at what they did in order to get Stephon Gilmore off his mark. And it may just be that he got so accustomed to people not throwing at him that he wasn't ready for people to throw at him. But he needs to have the kind of game that we've seen from him all year long, except for on Sunday, in order for the Patriots to have a chance to slow down the Tennessee Titans offense. And whether it is A.J. Brown, very underrated rookie receiver out of Mississippi, he and DK Metcalf both playing this weekend, both had phenomenal rookie seasons. Whether it's Brown, whether it's Davis, whoever it is, Gilmore needs to play a lot better than he did against the Dolphins if the Patriots want to advance.
Okay, I'll actually stay in that game. I was going to pick something similar. I was going to go Patriots defense, but I'll stay in that game, and I'll go with the Patriots skill position players. And Julian Edelman and James White and some of these guys who Tom Brady trusts in, and he knows that he can throw it to them on the 3rd and long. It's going to be very important that those guys have the game of their life because the margin for error for the Patriots offense is very, very thin. And knowing that you're going up against Derrick Henry, knowing you're going up against an explosive offense, even though it's Ryan Tannehill, that is going to be the big test for the Patriots. So their skill players on offense, making the big plays, getting the big chunk yardage when it's there, making the big catch, making life easy for Tom Brady will be the big test on Sunday, and the pressure will be on them. Saturday night.
In that loss to the Chiefs, one of the things we showed in the days after that, how the Chiefs decided, because it was 1 week after the game where Tom Brady kind of blew a gasket at his young receivers on the sidelines. They doubled Edelman, they doubled White, and forced Brady to throw the ball to the guys he doesn't have faith in. Those are the guys who are going to need to step up because the Titans, if they're smart about it, will take away Edelman, will take away White and say, N'Keal Harry, whoever else is out there, you better be able to step up and earn the trust in the moment of Tom Brady and get him to throw you the ball. Otherwise, that offense is not going to do anything. So another good pick. I'm feeling very charitable in the new year. Another good pick by you. I'm going to finish where we started. We started with the Houston Texans trivia question. The Houston Texans playing in the Houston Texans Memorial Playoff spot early Saturday afternoon. Deshaun Watson, 0-1 as a quarterback in the postseason. You do not want that to go to 0-2. You do not want that to become your narrative that you can't win in the postseason. And 0-1 becomes 0-2, becomes 0-3, and who knows how deep the hole gets. But it seems like the Texans are going to be in that spot playing every year. At some point, Deshaun Watson has to bust through and get a victory. And I think the pressure is on him at home as the quarterback of the favored team with the playoff experience in comparison to Josh Allen, who has none. It's on Deshaun Watson, especially if Will Fuller does not play, to lift the Texans over the Bills.
Okay. All right, my last pick, that was a basic pick by you. Like, whatever.
But is it wait a minute. Yeah. If we had done this draft without Deshaun Watson, then we would have never heard the end of why we didn't add Deshaun Watson. So sometimes you just got to check the box.
I don't think he's really under that much pressure. It's like Kirk Cousins. Is Kirk Cousins under pressure? Kirk Cousins is what he is. Deshaun Watson is going to have a great career.
We don't know what Deshaun Watson is yet. This is how you shape yourself. Same thing next week, Lamar Jackson. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. He lost in the playoffs last year. He falls to 0-2. All of a sudden, you get to that point where you become Barry Bonds, where you can get it done in the regular season. You can't get it done in the postseason. That's all I know about baseball in the last 30 years. But you don't want to dig that hole. Then you become, if you're like the Bengals. Every time they're in the playoffs, you haven't won a playoff game since 1990. It becomes a thing. It becomes part of your narrative. You don't want that. For Watson, he's got to end it now. Don't let it linger.
You're talking a little thing called clutch gene. I like where your head's at, Mike. Okay, my last pick. is going to be Mike Florio. Mike Florio is under pressure on Sunday when he is doing the pregame show. What's the pregame show called? You can watch it on NBC. Football Night in America. It's on during the day. A little confusing, but guess what? You're going to watch it because it's Mike Florio and his short face in your TV, in your living room before the Sunday afternoon game between the Eagles and the Seahawks. This is a promo. You're going to watch this game on NBC. There's no better booth than Al and Chris. And Mike Florio is going to be under pressure because all of America's watching while his Minnesota Vikings get the doors blown off them. So will Mike Florio be able to keep his composure? Will Mike Florio be able to keep his composure? Will we see tears from Mike Florio while the Vikings get absolutely demolished on Sunday afternoon and he has to be in everyone in America's living room, be America's host? That's what we call you, Mike. America's host.
Okay, thanks. That tells me you had nothing else, and you just tried to come up with something to turn it back around on me.
Hold on. The only other thing I had was Jerry Jones. Will he decide what will be the perfect time to fire Jason Garrett to maximize the press? He's under pressure.
That one's far better.
He's under pressure because if he does it right now, I don't think that's going to maximize. You got to do it like Sunday around 8:30, 9 o'clock at night.
All right. Well, let's recap. I have Drew Brees, Stephon Gilmore, Deshaun Watson. Big Cat has Brian Schottenheimer, Pete Carroll combo, Patriots offensive skill position players, and for some reason, me.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.